All right, so welcome to the very first Contacts to Contracts podcast. I'm Bryan Lovell with my co-host, Mr. John Jones. So our big thing, our goal first and foremost is to add massive value to our audience, to our listeners. And every week we're going to be focusing on some tips and tricks to help you in your business. Even though this is directed primarily towards mortgage and real estate, I think what you'll find is we're going to have some relative conversations that'll probably help you out in any business that you're in, especially if you're in any sales or business-to-business related business. So, John, I don't know about you, but my kids, they're back to school.
Back to school.
Week
number 2 for us.
Week number 2. So I figured, being that it's back to school right now, it's a pretty relevant topic to talk about. Because it's unlike any other school year that we've ever had. So how's being principal so far?
It's gone well so far. Yeah, my wife is an excellent vice principal. I have not had to step in yet, so it's going well.
Yeah, good.
Much better this year, or the start of this year, than it was in the spring for us. I think they're a little more prepared, so the kids seem to be, better off.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I think it'll be interesting to see kind of how it plays out throughout the year. Now, your kids, they brick and mortar, or are they at home?
They're at home for 9 weeks. So
Okay.
we're in week number 2 of the 9 weeks.
Okay.
And then we make the decision whether to keep them home or set them in.
Yeah. So we're in something similar now. At least in my home, my wife goes to work every single day, and currently I am working from the Valrico branch of VanDyk Mortgage. Which means that's in my house, and you're doing the same, and it provides a little bit of an interesting dynamic.
It sure does. I mean, it's kind of you've got to set some parameters, and to keep the kids focused on what they're supposed to be doing during the week, during the day, while they're in school, as well as respecting both my wife and I, who are set up in the Jones residence. Working from home. So we have to have quiet time and separate them from coming and knocking on our door, asking for a snack.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So just figured we spend a little bit of time today kind of talking about, what are the challenges that are presented with back to school, whether you're a parent, whether you're a loan originator or real estate agent, whatever that's a parent dealing with helping your children in the back to school, whether they're brick and mortar or whether they're doing e-learning like both of ours do. Either way, it presents some challenges because the school year is a little bit different. And quite frankly, the way that we're doing business right now is a little bit different as well. So with all of these changes, it's easy to find yourself in some interesting opportunities or challenges that you've never had to go through before or never expected. On top of that, I think right now in our business, things are busier than they have ever been before. So you're riding the bullet train of doing mortgages and selling real estate in a time, I don't know that we've seen this busy since, you've been in the business longer than me.
Never had a run like this.
And on top of that now, you're throwing this curveball with back to school. So what do you think are some of the challenges that, originators, sales professionals are experiencing right now with this current season we're in?
It goes back to when we all, essentially in March, I think, when we had to isolate and go into lockdown. We talked business planning in 19 going into 20. And I think within 60 days, we had to pivot and completely change direction, which I think we did rather well in our industry. We were, we're fortunate that we were able to, quickly move, pivot, and work remote from home. So our team has done that, and I think we've excelled at it right from the get-go.
Yeah. Everything rises and falls on leadership, right? And I think our team's done a really great job on all levels and all departments of leading through that. But what we wanted to spend a little bit of time today is I realize that there's some challenges that you're likely facing in your business with back to school, and as busy as we are, in our business, underwriting turn times are probably higher than we've ever seen, right? So you're doing twice as much business, and it's taking not quite twice as long, but it is taking longer to get your files through. We're also in an environment where like our guys as loan officers, our guys and gals, they're trying to balance refi and purchase. And right now refis are smoking hot, but so is purchase. And like, we really haven't ever seen a season where we had both going at the same time. And I think one of the challenges that presents somebody in our business right now is, what's the right mix, right? Because you don't want to lose sight of your core business either. I think some of the other challenges, we're in a different work environment than we've ever been in before. A lot of folks working from home, and our routines are off. And by the way, I would say our routines are off probably in large regard to no fault of our own. They just got thrown in there. And and then on top of that, with the back to school, like, you are now the principal, vice principal, guidance counselor, PE coach, teacher, the whole nine yards.
Lunchroom aide.
So what I figured we could do is, let's talk about some solutions that could help folks through, a time such as this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's having a plan. I mean, my wife and I, again, we didn't have the plan necessarily back in April when the kids were home from school, as the schools didn't have the plan, set up well to prepare and educate, in the last 2 months of the year. Going into the fall semester, I mean, it seems to have gone much smoother. So we're happy. We were worried that it was going to be a big, a potential big hiccup. I know you're in your first week. I mean, how's it going in Hillsborough?
We're off to a pretty slow start. But I think, my word of the day right now would be patience. And, I need to have patience with the kids. I need to have patience with the teachers and the administrators at the school as well. They're trying to deal with this. And I just think, patience all around would be my word of the day. But, I think that, kind of what we're segueing into right now is, what are some of the solutions? And you mentioned that it starts with a plan. And, I know that you've probably got some solutions you've put into place at your home, and some of mine are probably different. Neither one's right or wrong. But I think there are some things that you can do, because here's what I would imagine happens in the majority of cases. And in the majority of cases, what happens is
the kids rule.
Yes. Yes, right? And so what happens is the day runs you instead of you running the day. And we go into the day with, hey, I'm going to try to work. Let's say it's between 9 and 5, while constantly getting interrupted by, hey, I need help with this. I can't figure out how to log into that. I don't understand what the directions are to this assignment or whatever it is. And now whatever you were focused on whatever you were in the zone on, whatever momentum you had in your day, just got an emergency brake pulled up on it, and you're
derailed.
Kind of
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. You're starting all over again. And so, I think, what I think you've got to identify is, when does the day start and when does the day end? And I will tell you, having worked from home now for almost 6 months, that's a challenge. Right? Is I don't know when the workday starts and when the workday ends a lot. And I think that as a parent who's in our business and is also trying to help their children right now, you've got to put a schedule together. What does your workday actually look like, and what does your kids' school day work like? And what I mean by that is, you might find yourself in a situation where, instead of you starting your workday at 9 a.m. and working until whenever, 5 or 6 o'clock, maybe you're going to put a pause on the morning. And you say, you know what, I'm gonna get the kids started at school at 8:30. I'm gonna help them till about 10:30, and then I'm gonna work, take a break for lunch, get them going back after lunch, and then finish my workday. So now your workday may not be fluid, meaning it's all the way from 9 to 5, but it's got some starts and some stops in it, but it's defined. And most importantly, that's important for not just you in your business, but it's important for your child too, to understand, hey, this is when mom or dad is going to be available.
For your sanity, for your health.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when we first started working remote from home, most of us, admittedly, probably worked much harder, much longer days than we normally would. I mean, the business was booming, but there was nowhere where we could go and get away. You were stuck at your home, and we were getting up. I know myself, I was up at, get up typically early at 6:30, log in. I can see other folks starting to log in, and then 6:30 at night, we're still online and, still sitting for a lot of us at the same desk that we started the day at.
Yeah.
So part of adjusting your routine, I think it's important that, you have a plan that you get up and move around during the day. You've heard me talk to my team here. It's every hour. You need to have a 5-minute get up and walk around, go out, take a little walk around the neighborhood, take the dog for a walk. Just get up and stretch. I know for me, I've started doing the little push-up thing. Every hour, try to drop down and do 10 push-ups because I wasn't able to get up and go to the gym and do my normal activity, and I felt myself with my age. Getting a little tight and stiff, sitting there 10, 12 hours a day. Yeah. Not good for you.
No, it's not at all. I mean, that's a good thing, too, because I think that we lose sight of that a lot, that we're so busy and we're so ingrained in what we're doing that you literally could sit there 8 or 10 hours and almost never move. I mean, I think there's a lot of times I don't even stop to take lunch.
Absolutely. I think most of us are eating sitting at a desk.
Yeah. While you're on a phone call or a Zoom or whatever it is that you may be doing, you're doing it while you're. So, going back to like that plan, I think that you've got to put some plans in place so that both your student and you understand what the day actually looks like, just as if it was a normal school year or work day, right? I mean, my routine was got up early, got a workout in, took the kids to school. Once they were at school, my work day started. And let's be honest, like I really didn't worry about what they were doing all day until I got home.
I miss those days, Bryan.
Yes. bring those days back, please. So
we just want to thank all the teachers and educators out there at this time, and we can't wait to have our children 100% all back in your hands.
Care. Yes, back into your care. You do an amazing job.
Eager to have that happen.
Yeah. One of the other ideas I had too with this whole scheduling thing is, and this may be a little bit out of left field, but what if you switch some days off? I think that, the typical person in our business definitely works Monday through Friday, probably works an occasional Saturday, maybe part of a day Saturday on a pretty regular basis. But what if you swapped, like say, hey, I'm going to take Wednesdays off going forward instead of Sundays or, whatever.
That's a great idea.
Flip that whatever day it is that you think works out best for you and your family. But, maybe that helps with the situation too. Because I think...
for our industry, just to jump in real quick, on the real estate side, most realtors, even pre-COVID, did that. You think most realtors are showing property on Saturdays, Sundays. If not doing that, they're doing an open house. They're out and about trying to get in front of people when they're not at work. And then they take a Monday or Tuesday off and catch up on their errands and do all that stuff. So, I sold real estate for several years, and that's one of the things I was lucky to do. And it's kind of nice on a Monday, Tuesday when everybody was at work. I could run my errands, and it was wide open. I could go into the bank, sit down, get it done quicker, but then hustle selling property on Saturday and Sunday. So it's a great point.
And I think that's just, again, that's a matter of having a plan in place that's what, you're going to do.
Right.
Hey, I'm going to take every Wednesday off. And here's the other thing is I think generally speaking, at least for me, and I know that maybe I operate or manage my day a little bit differently than some, but my calendar is pretty intentional. Meaning that
I've seen your calendar. You are correct.
It's pretty intentional about what that day, what that week, what that month is going to bring. But there are also days when, like, maybe, you need a mental day.
Block it off.
Right? Where I'm still working and still available. My calendar that day may just not have a lot of intention on it.
Sure.
So, I take whatever comes my way, but I'm not necessarily doing
chasing
anything
it around.
to chase it. And so I think, that plays into that too, is so maybe if you decide to take that Wednesday off, maybe it's just a day of not it being intentional, and you take whatever comes. You'll answer the phone, you'll take whatever calls that you have to, but you're not being proactive to that specific day. I think another part of that plan or solutions is, you got to communicate with your kids what's going on. They need to understand what the day is going to look like or what the week is going to look like from your perspective on how you're going to be doing your business, and also set them up for what their day or their week is going to look like. Again, going back to that, you can be proactive or reactive, and that's a proactive measure. You had shared with me that you guys put a system in place in regards to texting.
Yeah, so starting day one from school, to avoid them, my 3 children coming in and saying, I want an English muffin, I want an orange juice. It's, you got to text us, we're at work, and their joke to me is, oh, Daddy has a Zoom call, VIP. I flip a sign around, and that's the VIP is on, and
really?
Yeah, and that's not to get Zoom bombed, as we've all had that fun, pleasure, and experience over the last 5 or 6 months getting Zoom bombed. I saw your daughter Zoom bombed you just about a week ago.
Yes,
I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, this is my best Zoom bomb so far, and I'll go off track a little bit because it's kind of funny.
Yeah, sure.
So, I was having the carpets cleaned at my house, and I found, like, since I've been working at home, I've been having, like, all of this work done. And the carpet crew was supposed to come out a specific day, and I had it scheduled and everything was prepared. And they called me, like, the day before. I think it was on a Sunday, actually. He's like, hey, our truck is broke. I'm going to have to reschedule if that's okay. And I was like, sure, not a problem. It's not like, I'm just going to be here all day, every day, right? And so the day that they schedule it happens to be a day, like, I'm packed with Zoom calls all day. Now, if you've had your carpets cleaned any time recently, the thing is pretty loud. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take these Zoom calls out on my pool deck and let them do their thing that they're doing in the house. Well, that particular day, my parents are supposed to be coming and picking up my kids. This is during the summer, to take them out to do something. And I'm sitting there on a call, and most of the executives in our company are on this Zoom call. And sure enough, my mom walks right in front of, I've got headphones, the whole 9 yards.
Gotta give her a sonic kiss.
Like, it's very obvious that I'm on a Zoom. And my mom comes in, stands right next to me, starts asking all these questions. I'm like,
no clue.
And she's like, can they see me? I'm like, yes.
No clue.
No clue what's going on. So yeah, that's pretty funny. But I like that. So you put up some sort of sign. One of the things that I've done is I print my schedule every morning, put it on the office door, so that kids know, hey, Dad's on this call, or he's in this meeting, or whatever. They know when to come ask me. But one of the other things that started happening is, they'll write notes. And, like, there's a certain part of my office where when I'm on a Zoom call, like, they could pass me something without anybody seeing it, and it'll say something like, hey, I'm going down the street to, play with the neighbor kid or something like that. I'll be back at 2 o'clock.
I'm glad to hear that you put a plan in place. I do recall probably maybe some point during the summer that you had lost track of where your 2 girls were.
Yes.
One day.
More than once.
Right. And maybe came out of the office and found the house a little disheveled.
Oh,
want
my
to
goodness.
talk a little bit about that, Brian?
You're acting like this never happened to you? Man, there's like chip bags, donuts, cans of soda. It's like there
was a party.
Hey, we can make anything we want. Those, I tell you, one of those things I'm never buying again are, in the summer, they have those popsicles that you buy in, like, the plastic sleeves.
Yes.
And I don't even know what you call those, cool pops, but what popsicle. I would find those wrappers. They were eating like 6 of those a day. And I'd find them all over the house with
morning, noon, and night,
with the tops cut off. Yep. And they would just leave the top wherever they cut it off at. But yeah, you'd come out and it'd be like, oh my gosh, a bomb went off in this place.
Yes. We're fortunate that our children, for us, they're old enough now to do the homeschool and be responsible enough on their own and to obey the rules that we've set. Some of the challenges that I don't know if you want to talk about this. Some of the LOs or some of our team members that have younger kids and they're doing the virtual. That's my heart's out to you.
Yes.
I couldn't imagine having 3 of my own. My youngest is in 7th grade, so he's they're all perfectly capable to log in and go throughout their day. But for those folks that have preschoolers at home trying to do that, and even grade school kids, that's the challenge.
Yeah, I think for sure it is, and we've been working with some of our team members that are experiencing that as well. And one of the other challenges that we saw during the summer was not all of the daycares were open or available, and so you've got a household with 2 working parents and no daycare available to you. Thankfully, in our jobs and in real estate too, our schedules are flexible enough that it's not necessarily 9 to 5.
Right.
And so now you've got a parent who's at home with a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, whatever. And I mean, as you know, there's no just sitting them down in front of the TV. You got to stay on your toes.
Hands on.
It's hands on. It's zone coverage, not necessarily man to man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I certainly. And that's
so for those folks, absolutely must have a plan. Probably have to rethink a schedule. Probably have to go at it with dual parenting.
Yes.
Essentially, if somebody's work split shifts essentially at home, and make sure there's a parent that's there to guide those children, through their day.
Yeah.
So that may mean working late nights for some folks.
Yeah, and that's where I'm talking about, maybe the schedule
disciplines
now
that they need to set
is 1 to 8 o'clock instead of 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or whatever.
Yep.
So, we've talked a little bit here, John, about, how do we alter a plan or build a plan based on the school year starting? And I think what we're really getting at is it's very important to build routines in your work day or the model of business that you're going to do. But I think the next caveat to this, and this could probably be a whole different podcast, but business plans right now in the environment we're in, it's like shifting sands. When you think about
out the window,
yeah. You think about, we started doing business planning with our teams, like October, November of 2019. And I think although we teach that, you write that business plan in pencil, not necessarily pen, a lot of people go into it with the mindset of, this was my 2020 business plan. It works from January 1 to December 31st. And in large part, you could probably do that and get away with it. This year has been a totally different animal. And I think, whatever you started the year off with, I would imagine a lot of us got derailed, right? COVID threw us upside down, and we might have never even gone back to a plan. Like you had a plan. What is it Mike Tyson that says everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth? Right?
That was his plan.
Yeah, and that's truly kind of what has happened this year. And so, I think you've got to take a look at our business plans nowadays. It's really like a rolling 30 days.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've gone from, being shut down for almost 60 days, then what looked like reopening Memorial Day weekend, and kind of loosening back up, and it's been upside down crazy.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think most realtors are prior to COVID, most realtors and LOs probably never logged in and did much with Zoom at all.
Yeah.
So here we are 6 months later. There's probably not a single one that hasn't done multiple Zoom calls over the last 5 or 6 months and Zoom webinars. So it's changed our business forever. This isn't temporary with Zoom and some of these Zoom webinars. And it's been a blessing for all of us. I mean, as an industry for us, we were able to stay front and center of, our referral partners and, keep everybody abreast of what was going on in our industry. Lots of changes. I mean, it was just, we get thrown into this, and I think it was upside down with the lending changes that we went through, and forbearance came. That word was thrown out there a little bit, and what that meant for folks with homes, and how that all worked.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's still yet to unravel.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother probably conversation we could do in a future podcast as well. But I think what I'm hearing you say is, like, right now, there was so many changes going on that we were continually having to adjust to. And I think at some point you just work through them. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a hurdle, I climbed over it. But at some point you have to get back to that more narrow focus. And I think right now it's about every 30 days. Because I think the other thing too is the behaviors or the activities that you probably had as part of your business plan in 2019, when you made it in 2019 to come into 2020, you can't even do some of them. Like, I'm just going back to, like, I built my career as an originator on broker opens and open houses.
Sure.
And you're not seeing a whole lot of, well, first of all, in our market right now, they probably sell. You don't even
before the sign gets put in the yard. Inventory problem.
But you're not seeing broker opens and open houses with the same frequency that you used to. I did that because I went to those types of things to meet a new agent. right? And so now that I've met you, when I call you, it's not necessarily a cold call. And I had a whole plan to what I did from that point on. Again, probably another great podcast. But that's an example of something that you may have had as part of your business plan that today isn't a relative piece of it. And so you've really got to identify in the current environment that we're in, what are the activities that you should be doing or could be doing to drive your business. And I think that those are more narrow, which means when you get narrow, you typically get a lot better, right? So like you've heard the saying, you can be a jack of all trade and a master of none. In this case, if you're going to do 3 or 4 things, you're probably going to do those 3 or 4 things really
pretty well.
Yep. I think, again, you need to review it about every 30 days. I think that, I'm a big proponent of numbers. Numbers tell a story. Do you know what your numbers are and what are you tracking? Like you went through an exercise recently that I'm so glad that you did, because my takeaway when you shared the data with me was, hey, we've got originators and branch managers all over the country that are blowing the doors off, but they're
killing it.
But their purchase business, if they had to live on only that,
eye-opening to some.
Yes. They would probably be very shocked, to where their business was. So, and again, we can probably have a whole nother podcast on numbers tell a story. But right now, I think what I'm trying to say is you need to know what you're tracking. You need to review it, because it's going to help you see where you've come from so that you know how to adjust to where that you want to go.
This run's not going to last forever.
It is not going to last forever. You had and
they're hanging on for dear life now. So, for business planning and the switches, again, we're fortunate. Many folks aren't essential and as fortunate. So, we're thankful, all of us, to be in this industry at this time. But we're doing extremely well with interest rates at record level lows. And they're hanging on for dear life. They're, the folks that have been doing this a while now have a big enough database that they're helping past clients, saving, thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So it's all that savings is going back into the economy. So from a big picture, we're helping, millions of homeowners save a lot of money. That money is going back into savings and back to stimulate the economy. So it's been pretty hectic. I know some of our folks are just off the charts, crazy busy.
Yeah, which is it's a blessing.
Over to your point, again, it's just recognizing where your business comes from.
Yeah.
Right now, be thankful for it, but just keep in check where it's at now, and think 6 months, 12 months where you need to be.
And hey, don't be afraid to take a day off every now and again. Everybody needs a little rest and recharge.
That's right.
Right. So first podcast, what'd you think? You have fun?
I had fun. Yeah, cool. It was awesome.
So I appreciate everybody who's logged in to listen to us, to watch us, whatever avenue that you might be catching this podcast, the Contacts to Contracts podcast. I'm Bryan Lovell with my co-host John Jones. Don't forget to, if you like what you saw, like it, subscribe so that you can get alerted when our next podcast comes out. And if you liked it too, don't forget to share it on all your social media networks.
Thanks, Bryan.
We out.
We're out.